Oblivion was the first game I ever purchased digitally back when I first got an Xbox 360, and I didn't like it. Honestly, I found it boring. I tried a few times, I just did not get on with it. I did not get the popularity or why people enjoyed it, so I stopped. There was no point in playing a game I didn't like. However, I remember having a similar reaction to Skyrim, but when I pushed myself to play it for a video series, I actually found myself eventually loving it. So with the new Oblivion remake, it seems like a fantastic time to do the same for this. Not as a series, because I don't make series like that anymore, but as a single video. And this is it. Before we jump into it though, I will say this is very much an overview of my experience with the main campaign and the major side quests, since this is a nearly 40 hours massive load of recording, and we do need to compress that down quite a bit. So with that said, let's begin. The introduction cutscene looks incredible, definitely really makes me want to play. When I get into it, I end up playing it pretty safe with my design, just a standard Imperial man, and now we're in prison. That situation changes quickly when we meet the Emperor, as prisoners tend to do, and he's helping us escape, which is really nice of him. Actually, he's escaping himself, but we're still going to follow along until we go our own way. We do some basic combat and exploring, and you know, so far it's fine, and we eventually reunite with the Emperor by pure chance, air quotes, and save his life. And he wants us with him. Well, okay then. Eventually we get into a situation which is clearly a trap. I'm supposed to guard him, but then suddenly he sends me to find his son, and oh, that wasn't meant to happen. We have our mission though, head to Wayne Priory, so now it's a good time to get out of these sewers. I've got to admit, Oblivion does look really good. The remake definitely did that part well. I got distracted for a while exploring the dungeons. I didn't really have a reason to explore, but I was curious. This is new to me. When I finally remembered my mission, I headed for the Priory and had a chat with Joffrey, who cannot help but make me think of Game of Thrones. Now our job is to find Martin, the Emperor's bastard, at the city of Kvatch. Couldn't help take a long way though, because Oblivion is a beautiful game. We learn when we get there that Kvatch is in ruins and there's an Oblivion gate. Oh dear, things aren't going well then. As it seems Martin is inside the city, we need to get there, which means doing something incredibly stupid. We're going into the Oblivion gate. Our goal is to close it, but the game doesn't actually tell us how. There's a lot of exploring and running around until we finally get a key. That key lets us move further in until we can finally remove the sigil stone and the gate is closed. Now we can storm the city. It goes well, rescuing some people, and we get into the castle via a side entrance. We let the men in. Those men now just sit in the courtyard and won't charge the castle. Good to see Bethesda game, they're as buggy as always. I go in without them since they won't do anything, and discover the count is dead. But hey, at least we know. More importantly, we have the city. Even more importantly, we have Brother Martin, known as Martin Septim. He doesn't seem to believe me entirely, but he'll come back with us to Wayne Priory, which is under attack. Can't anything go right? The Amulet of Kings is taken, which is bad, but at least we have Martin. Now on to Cloud Ruler Temple, the home of the Blades, to keep him safe. And we get a horse too. The horse riding was fun, and we did eventually get to the temple, which is far more of a castle than a temple. After some rousing speeches, I finally joined the Blade, the first of many organisations I'll be joining. After I get it kitted out in some fancy armour, I'm off to the Imperial City. I'm here to meet a Blade. I accidentally find him mid-operation, so we thought that out. He has information for us that these assassins are part of a cult, and we need to learn more about them. We need books. The first 2 volumes are easy, the third requires this bastard bookseller, but he won't be helpful. However, it turns out I can just scare the buyer into giving it to us. Problem solved. However, the last one will be a challenge. The 4th one is carried only by members of the Mythic Dom. Good news is they're in the sewers, so we kill the sewer rats and get the book. With those books, we work out there's a secret map to their base here in the city. Just wait for a certain time and boom, there it is. Now we can head there. In order to get in, well, we're going undercover. It's not very helpful though when their leader escapes to a literal different dimension. But we can only steal the book with the secrets of how to do that. Turns out stealing it is hard, so after a few failed attempts, I just go in and cut everyone down. That had its challenges too, but at least I got it. We bring it back and it will be studied, but while we wait we have some spies to deal with. That means heading to Bruma for an investigation. After a pretty quick investigation, we go and kill them in their own homes, as you do, before discovering their plans. That was easy. Bruma is to be the target for a major attack, but for now it seems like what we're working on is getting the portal open, starting with a Daedric artifact. It doesn't actually matter, it does recommend one to you, but it doesn't actually matter which one you do, and some online research said that Sheer Gorath is pretty easy, so that's our goal. After an offer of a soul gem, lettuce and yarn, don't ask, we have a chat with a mad statue. We have a weird task, we're going to make a prophecy come true. First it involves stealing cheese, don't ask. Then we begin to cook it to create a rat infestation. We have to make sure they don't get killed off. Then we go and kill off the sheep with a bit of poison, and then Sheer Gorath will make it rain flaming wolves. Yeah, as I said before, don't ask. All I cared about was getting the artifact, the Wabberjack, which I had before actually, and I got it. After I delivered it, I have a new mission, an Oblivion gate in Bruma I need to shut down. After a rousing speech, in we go. I'm not going to go into details of the Oblivion gates because they're all pretty similar, but we get through with some help. Now we have, well, a couple of jobs, a holy artifact to get, and also we need some help for Bruma. Bruma seems like the easiest and quickest one, so I go for that. Oh, how wrong I was. How wrong I was. Cheydinhall won't help us because they have an Oblivion gate, so guess where we're heading? You know it, to Oblivion. We lose the Count's son on the way, oh dear, but we get it done. And more importantly, we get Cheydinhall's help. We ask for help from Imperial City, but they've got nothing to give, so onwards to Troll. Wanna guess what their problem is? Wanna guess what every city's problem is? Yep. Troll's gate clothing doesn't cause any issues, and with that help secure, I head to Kvatch, who will help us. Although, you know, we've already closed their gate. Then I head to Anvil, and you can bet it's the same thing again. This is the most repetitive part of the game I found, and I really wasn't a fan. If there was a part that made me question my decision to do this, it was this. We get them sorted out and then onto Skingrad, once more, Oblivion Gate. The biggest problem I had with this one was finding the bloody Count. I had to break into the man's bedroom just to talk to him, but we got it done. Now onto Bravo, and I'm sure you can guess what we're doing here. Of course you can, nobody's surprised. With it finally done, we move on to Layer Win, which seems like the last gate, and it is. Thank God. With that finally done, we can move on. It actually took so long, I forgot what the next quest was, which is getting Tiber Septim's armor. That ended up being a challenge in itself, but at least it was different from the Oblivion gates. Getting that armor required helping the ghosts of blades, as you do in life, but we do it. Next up, we're going to Miscarand, a place which should have the great Welkin Stone we need. It does unfortunately seem to be full of goblins and undead, but that's normal here. We get the stone. I then even killed the king, for good measure. The next quest is going to be interesting though. We need a great sigil stone, which means opening a great gate. So we have to let a great Oblivion gate be opened at Bruma. Weirdly, the Countess is more okay with it than I was expecting. It's also nice to see all the memory brought here. It feels like all that work we put in that was annoying actually meant something. With everything decided, we go over the plan and then head down to the single Oblivion gate there. After a nice speech, the battle begins. With some butchery, we finally get what we need, the great Oblivion gate. In we go. Our final gate has a time limit, and I'm sure it'll be much harder than before. Okay, it's actually very easy. There are some locked gates, but I can just parkour around them, so it doesn't matter. Then I get it closed, and we have the sigil stone we need, which means we can get the Amulet of Kings. Which of course means we have to enter a different dimension, which this doesn't look dangerous at all. Actually inside it doesn't look dangerous. Looks can be deceiving though. We need to get through, and after looting the bands of the Chosen from the corpse, we can enter the main way through, and we get some help. Although it does feel like a trap when he begins to lower me into lava, but turns out it really wasn't. He helps us through, and we get to where the leader of the Mythic Dawn is. Suffice to say, he won't listen to reason, so we kill his people, and then we kill him. He's challenging, but he still dies, and we get the amulet. Now we have our Emperor. Time to bring him in and make sure that he becomes the actual Emperor. But of course there's a problem when we get there. Of course we're under attack. Apparently we need to go to the Temple of the One, so let's do that. Not gonna lie, I didn't think we'd actually meet Merium's Dagon, but he's very visible. He's here to kill the Emperor, but don't worry, the Emperor becomes the Spirit Dragon. His plan doesn't exactly work. He ended up defeated too, even though it does leave behind nothing but a statue. The Emperor is dead, but the Empire is safe. And that's the game done. All that's left is for me to pick up my rewards. This armour is nice, definitely what I'll be wearing from here on out. Now, as I said, the game is done, but as with Skyrim, it's far from done. The main quest is done, but the game has lots more content, and I will not be going through all of it, because it will take me a very, very long time. But I will go through all the faction stuff, and I will go through the Shivering Isle, basically anything that has achievements tied to it. We're going to begin with the Dark Brotherhood. The requirement to join is a spot of murder. So I look online who I can murder without problems, and then I go and kill them. Once we've done that, we can meet Lucian LeChance, I think that's his name, who wanted to join the Dark Brotherhood. We accept, but to join we've got to do some more murder. As this man is just sitting in bed, it's not hard. Now I sleep with the corpse, it is literal sleep, as one tends to do, and then we join. We even have access to the sanctuary. We also have our first official assignment too, killing a ship captain. As we just walk in, kill the man, and walk out, it was done quick. Now we have a wood elf to kill, but it must look like an accident. Dropping a minotaur head on him does the job. I do end up killing the manservant too, so no bonus, but we get it. I'm also not fussed on the bonus, I just want to get these done. Next one is killing a man in the Imperial Prison, the same one I broke out of. I do actually try and stealth this, but in the end I just kill everyone. I also have to go to prison because shockingly killing a ton of guards isn't something guards like. The next one is an odd one because we're faking a death with poison. Little stab, then we flee, and then we give him the antidote the next day before killing his zombified family, as you do. Next up is just killing a man in a secure location, simple enough, followed by us killing a warlord. It had the stealth bonus, but I suck at stealth. With him poisoned, there's no mission done, and we have to kill a whole house worth of people. I didn't even try and do this stealthy, and yet somehow I managed it. Somehow these guys were also blind, they just missed that I killed their friend. Next target, a retired captain who spent many years hunting the Dark Brotherhood. Killing him stealthy was easy, but then we cut his finger off and leave it in his successor's desk. That's one way to send a message. Our next mission though is going to be different. There's a traitor in the Dark Brotherhood, and we don't know who. So, just to be on the safe side, we're going to murder everyone. So that's what we do. All the people I've been working for and regularly talking to, I slaughtered a lot of them. Now we're working directly for Lucian, who will leave us contracts in dead drops, and he gives us our first one. It's just a wizard in a cave, so I get him butchered and then head to the next dead drop. Now he wants us to kill an entire family, so I start with the mother. Then I head around and kill the rest without issue, aside from a small stint in prison, but otherwise no problems. The final one is in a cave, but no issue there. From there I move on to a new contract, a hand-to-hand expert that I stabbed to death. After that it's a wanted psychopath in a sunken cave, but the swimming is more of an issue than they are. The next is a travelling salesman, but I just get him on the road. Then a barbarian up a mountain, dispatched without issue. The one after that is a simple wood elf archer. Easy. And now we're a traitor. Turns out we've been following the wrong orders and slowly killing our way through Brotherhood leaders. Whoops. Waiting by the next dead drop tells us who's responsible, or at least where to find them, to the lighthouse. The lighthouse keeper is absolutely fine if we want to kill the guy who lives in his cellar, because he doesn't like him. He's not here, but his diary is, so we bring it back to Lucian, who has been skinned alive. Oh, we got promoted though, which is great, and we're going to go and meet the Night Mother after a simple ritual at a statue. This time it's a bit better than the corpse we met in Skyrim. The traitor reveals himself, we kill them, and now we're the leader of the Dark Brotherhood. Now there is a lot of stuff we can do to make money and things like that, but I'm here to finish questline and get achievements, so time to move on to the arena. Joining involves just talking to a man, and then we have a fight, and that's the arena. It's just a bunch of fights. After about 20 minutes of filming, I'd taken most of them down. No doubt this would be harder if my difficulty was higher, but I'm here for the story and the quest and stuff like that. I'm not struggling through every fight. After a few more fights, we have it done. That's the arena completed. I have 7 quest lines finished, and I guess that technically counts as the third. I'm not sure if I want to count it, but it has the achievements. Before starting though, we finally get a little house, so we have somewhere to store things, and now we move on to the Thieves Guild. It's a simple case of waiting in the right spot until the right time, and now we have a trial. We've got a diary to steal, and I have to steal it before the other two. My first attempt doesn't work so well, but eventually you get it, and boom, we're a member. Now to get promotions, which isn't just about quests, but also about stealing and fencing things. So I go and steal a whole bunch of stuff to fence. With that done, we get our first mission, stealing taxes from the guards and giving it back to the poor. It seems like a hard mission, but it's really not. We just go into the tower, break into the commander's room who's asleep. The desk is just next to the ladder, so I can lockpick that, take the money, get the promotion. Now it's back to fencing stuff, which I'll be doing between every mission. We have everything sold. I have a quest to steal a bust. With some lockpicking and some ghost dodging, we do it. Unfortunately, we're now wanted as a traitor in our midst, so I simply plant it in the traitor's home and report her. Easy way to get rid of her, and that's the quest done. I also have a new boss. We need to get a ring back, which will be easy, right? At least it seems it until we find out the person is in the Leowin's castle dungeons. Visiting him is easy. Finding out the Countess now has the ring, that'll make things more difficult. I tried to pickpocket it from her, but in the end, sneaking into the castle at night is the answer. I do wake them, but apparently if you leg it fast enough they don't notice, because that's what I did and I got away unscathed. I was happy to get this quest done, it was a pain. Our next mission was to get the guards to focus on other parts of the Imperial City by staging a series of high profile thefts. Our goal is a magic staff. I expected this to be difficult, but I just entered the tower, used the portal to get to the top, and the staff's just sitting there. It ended up being harder to give the staff back, but yeah, regardless, this quest is done, it still wasn't that hard. Next up is a rare book we need to find, and once again the person who knows where it is in prison. After taking the job feeding prisoners, we get there. Turns out he's not there, he's been taken through a secret door into a torture chamber. He's also now dead. We did find a friend though, and with some masterful stealth, which I must admit I'm pretty proud of, we successfully snuck him out of prison and get the book and delivered it. Now, after a bit more thievery, we get a new mission to get the captain of the Imperial Guard reassigned, so he's no longer a problem. First it involves sneaking into the castle and stealing a letter, which you think would be hard, and you'd be right. Then we go to a forger, get a new metal lathe which recommends the captain elects for a new role before breaking into the Legion commander's home to give it the official stamp. Then we can deliver it to the Countess, and then we can deliver hers to Lex, who, he knows this is a setup, but he goes anyway. With that, another quest is done. Now we get to go and meet the actual Grey Fox himself. He wants us to steal from a monastery. That feels like a sin. Regardless, still going to do it. And we head to the monastery and get led down to the area where the artifact is. The area is full of blind monks, but apparently we're allowed to just kill them, so we do. That gets us the mission done and we move on to the next one. We need an arrow held by a court wizard, so once more we're breaking into a castle. This isn't in his room, but we do find a secret tunnel to a secret area and we get the arrowhead. I mean, it's only the head, but it's good enough for the Grey Fox. Next up, we're looking for the boots of Spring Hill Jack, which surprised me because the real thing, well, Spring Hill Jack isn't real, but it's a real world urban legend. To find it in Oblivion, we need to find the descendant of Jack, get the key, then kill the descendant, who apparently is Jack, or seems to be Jack. I don't know. Now we're on to the Great Heist. We're stealing an Elder Scroll. Christ, that's an escalation in difficulty. We'll start by sneaking into the Imperial Palace basement, triggering the Sands of Time, which helps us unlock everything, and then back down to the sewers. We take a long journey through sewers and catacombs until now we're in some ancient complex. So a lot of work until we can finally fire that arrow we found, which works like a key. That gets us through the Imperial Guard's quarters. From there, it's a whole lot of sneaking around until I get to the library, sit down and get given the Elder Scroll by a blind monk. Now we get out of there by going down a chimney chute. That's what I bought the brutes for, but I did forget to put them on. Fortunately, I had time to do it in the fall. Destroyed them, but at least I'm okay. Now we just deliver it back to the Grey Fox, but we're not quite done yet. We learn the truth that the Grey Fox is a curse, and that becoming the Guildmaster means you vanish from history. He's also the rightful Count of Anvil, and now he's taking that place, meaning he's no longer the Grey Fox. We're the Grey Fox. We now have access to a new guild too, which is fancy. Not satisfied with just finishing that quest though, I'm moving on to the next one, the Mage's Guild. Joining is as simple as just going in and joining. I head to Anvil and do that. I get our first quest too, dealing with some road mages across the road. I make a point of looking like a trader, telling everyone I am one, and so I can get ambushed. The ambusher is killed quickly, and we have our first recommendation to the Arcane University. I also have become a vampire. Oops. I got distracted for a bit getting that fixed since it kept killing me, before I headed to the Bravo Mages Guild for my assignment there. As it was just getting a staff back and required a few conversations, easy enough, and now I have a recommendation from Bravo. That ended up being pretty easy, and they ended up being quite quick from here on out. Bruno was just finding a man who showed up after stealing an item, which was great for me as the Grey Fox. Chedenhall was just getting a lost ring from a well. I drowned a few times, but I got it in the end. After all, it's just a case of finding a book, which is left sitting there on a corpse, not even in a dungeon. So easy. Layaway was a bit harder to get. I had to find a magical amulet to suppress a seer's power, and the only one I could find was deep in the dungeon. There's nothing more than we can handle. As for Skin Grab, we have to go and find a wayward member of the guild, who of course accidentally found his way into a zombie cave. Getting him home after was easy. With that done, I have my final recommendations. I'm now officially a member of the Arcane University. Now we're getting somewhere. Our next task was supposed to be simply making a start, but instead we end up in a fight to the death with Necromancers. They end up being the ones who were dead. Suffice to say, it wasn't the news the university wanted, but I got my staff. Our next mission seems to just be retrieving a book from a count. How hard can it be? Well, it's the Count of Skingrad, so seeing him is challenging in himself. We're told where to meet him, and instead we're ambushed by necromancers. They're dead though, and it turned out we were actually sent to investigate the Count rather than get the book. Oh well, I'm just happy to be finishing quests. Our next one involves helping with the historical survey, and that's actually what it is, solving the puzzles to unlock an artifact. Takes some effort, a little bit of combat, but we get the artifact, a helmet, and we bring it home. Now we're investigating necromancers we keep coming across to see what they're up to, and I find what I need by simply killing one in the cave. That was easy. Doing that got me an audience with the head of the guild, who wants me to save an agent they have with the necromancers, the battle mages sent haven't been heard from. Turned out only one of them's left, but that's okay. He's pretty destructible. Destructible? Indestructible! Alas, the man we were sent for, though, he is dead. Now it's back to the Count. He has information, won't hand it over unless we deal with vampire hunters. The easiest way is to kill a nest of vampires. So I did. Then I tell the hunters that the vampires are gone. They just believed me without evidence. That was easy. Apparently the information is about a man called Manny Marco. No idea who he is, but the mages don't like him. Our next task involves heading to the Bruma Mages Guild to make sure everything is okay, and it appears to be slightly on fire. I didn't do it. I found the necromancer here and also accidentally killed their mage. Whoops. After a quick reload, we get the quest done. Now we find out the council is fragmenting and members are leaving with valuable artifacts we need to recover. Not a surprise that they've fallen. They're now dead. We've sent after another artifact which is in the hands of the necromancers, and we get through them quickly before we're sent out to steal a black soul gem with some battle mages that do absolutely nothing. We cut through and head to the base, finding a traitorous Falcar, the man who originally gave us an assignment once. He's dead now though, so it doesn't really matter that he's a traitor. And we have the soul gem. Now we have our final mission, which starts by the archmage killing himself and putting his soul into the black soul gem. Basically exactly what the enemies wanted. But there's a reason for it. We want to fight our way to the leader, which we do until we finally kill Manny Marco. I suppose the Archmage killing himself did stop them attacking the university, which was the purpose. But considering how easily we cut through them, we could have probably done this in time. Oh well, I don't need to understand. All I need to do is have one final conversation and then boom, quest line complete. There are 2 more quest lines, but only one of them is a faction. So let's begin the final faction, and the only one that wasn't in Skyrim, or at least the only one I didn't know about, the Fighters Guild. Joining with the simple of the conversation, and then we get our first quest, a rat problem. Specifically a woman whose pet rats are being killed by big cats. We kill one in the basement and go hunting with the world's slowest hunter. However, it was all for naught because someone was actually leading him in there. When I found out, I stopped them. Second contract was even easier. A few people were trying to kill a publican, so I just waited in the pub and killed them off. That led to the next assignment, which is delivering a weapons shipment. Apparently that also involved me killing most of their enemies for them, but sure, easily done. Leads to advancement, a new assignment, finishing a contract that's been defaulted on. Apparently this guy just refused it because he wasn't being paid enough, but I did it. Now we're dealing with unemployed, drunken guild members. What fun! Turned out it was just a simple case of finding them work and they're happy. I get that. Next up, clearing out a den of thieves. Nice and easy. You'll notice I'm skipping through these a bit more than some of the others, but honestly, I wasn't that impressed with the Fighters Guild. It was fine, but the others were just more fun. But now we've started it, you better believe we're finishing it. Our next job is to retrieve something from a lady's ancestral tomb to pay off her debt, but instead I paid it off. I'm rich, I can do that. I wish that was real life. Our next job is pretty run-of-the-mill, but the trick is with the Guildmaster's son, we've got to keep him safe. Pretty easy when he can't die. When we get back, we're finding Maglia again, the guy who didn't finish his job. Yeah, he's done it again. He just quit and didn't finish the job. It's the Blackwood company he's joined, and they're proving to be quite a problem, so we're taking care of it. We went back to apparently where there was a contract issue, but there's no evidence of anything happening here, so something very suspicious. Following Mordrin takes forever, and finding the mages was even longer. When I did find them though, it didn't take long. Now we're back to our regular job, hunting fugitives. Easy enough to deal with, and now I have a job to keep someone safe while researching the Daedra. The good job they sent me is a lot of evil Daedra things to handle there, but nothing I didn't already do in the main story. Our next mission's a bit more important though. Remember the son of the Guildmaster? Yeah, they're nowhere to be found, and that could be a problem. And by good, I mean it is, because he's definitely dead. Delivering that news wasn't exactly good, and when I go to get my next job, I learned I've been demoted. Why is it my fault when all I did was try and rescue him? I don't know, I still got the blame though. A new job could fix the problem though, and I have one, recovering a holy relic stolen from the church. Found the thief easy, but as it's now been stolen by ogres, that means nothing. Ogres aren't anything I can't handle though, and after taking down a good handful of them, we bring it back. Our next question involves dealing with orcs, but in this case we're helping an orcish noble, who sounds ridiculous. He sounds like an idiot trying to be smart. We have to save his daughter from the ogres, but it's not really hard. With that I get promoted back to my old rank, and we have our final job, to investigate missing people. They end up being lured into a troll cave, but easy. We're not quite done with the Fighters Guild yet though. It was our last job, but not our last quest, as now we're dealing with the Blackwood company. Specifically, he wants me to capture one of their leaders that is nowhere near as well guarded as I expected. Questioning him was fine until he killed himself. My bad. Still, we got some information, which is something, but now we have to infiltrate them. I'm sure that'll be easy. Turns out it was. Convincing them to let me join, even though they know who I am, is really easy. They're surprisingly trusting. We're given some drugs to try, which always goes well, and before we know it, we're out of town slaughtering goblins. Then I went back up at Modrin's home, because apparently I passed out. Headed back to that town. Yeah, turned out we slaughtered a bunch of innocent people. We just didn't know that. That is what the Hist sap does and why we need to get rid of it. It's from a tree in their guild, so it's time to slaughter their guild. I work my way up, really just to get keys, then I get down to the basement and I wreck that tree. I also killed that bastard Malga for good measure. Our reward for this is, well, finishing the Fighters Guild. I'm now the master of my fourth and final guild, and they've been fun, although Fighters was my least favourite. There's still one more questline to do though, which is the DLC or a DLC from the original game. The Shivering Isles. I had no expectations for this, no idea what it was going to look like. But the island was easy to spot from what looks like from the distance, like a giant Lenin head staring at me. Getting up close reveals a series of heads and a series of mad people. Seems like going in makes you mad, although we do have to go in. When we arrive, we have a conversation with Haskell, who his lord wants us to be his champion. We agree, and the building disintegrates into butterflies, as buildings tend to do in life. Wandering around this place is interesting, and we eventually come to the gatekeeper. It seems like I'm meant to go into town to find a way to kill him, but I just keep hacking at him until he goes down. I have a choice to head to the land of Mania or Dementia, but Mania sounds better, so I went that way. From there, it's a long trek to the main city, and a further trek to Sheergoth. Sheergoth? Sheergorath. He tells us about the Grey March which threatens to destroy his realm, and we're going to help him. Okay then. First we're reactivating the Dillian, which deals with unwanted adventurers. It's a simple case of killing enemies, retrieving focus crystals. I swear I will be able to talk again someday. And then with that done, we meet a dungeon master, giggity, and now we get to torture some adventurers. I use a giant illusion to torture the first into madness, I use fire to murder the second, and I use zombies to kill the third. That was fun, although I didn't appreciate being tapped by knights on the way out. Now we're done ourselves. We're done with health. Now we're done with that. What the hell is wrong with that? I'm sorry. Now we're done with that. We need to ingratiate ourselves with the Duchess of Dementia and the Duke of Mania. And we begin with the Duchess. There's someone trying to kill her and we need to find them. Good news is, she's lent us a torturer. Do I have to use a torturer? No. Do I? Yeah. Doing so gets us some answers that we know who to look for, so we listen in on them, get them aside, and one ends up dead. Oops. We find out who's responsible though, and then watch them die in the torture chamber. With one done, we head over to the Duke, a Poundland Loki if I've ever seen one. Long story short, he's become addicted to Feldew, and we need to get the chalice of reversal to reverse it. Only problem is we have to become addicted to get it. And we have to keep taking it too, otherwise the withdrawal really slows us down. Fortunately, the chalice reversed it for us too, and we get it back to the Duke. Next up, we're relighting some ancient flame, although first we have to win some eternal battle between Mania and Dementia. Picking Mania, we go and fight with the Golden Women against their dark and evil foes. Their leader sacrifices himself to make the flame, and now I can set myself on fire. Now I can take that fire and set the torch on fire. Simple, huh? Now, for my reward, I get to replace either the Duke of Mania or the Duchess of Dementia, and I have to make the choice. My choice is the Duke of Mania. So naturally, I pick the Duchess. Why? Because there's an achievement for both, and I want them both. So I start with the one I don't want, and then I reload. Of course, when we get to kill her, the Duchess has escaped, so I had to hunt her down, butcher her guard, then butcher her, then I have to cut a heart out of her, sacrifice it, long cutscene, I get it. And then I immediately reload, and now it's time to take out the Duke of Mania, which I'll do by poisoning him. I do that by following one of his servants, although I followed her for a while and she went nowhere in particular, but finally when I tried again, she went to the right place. We need a drug, Green Mode, which Fadon loves, but too much of that will kill him. We need to make sure he gets too much. Not gonna lie, I thought creeping around the stockpile in full plate armor would fail, but it worked out fine. Sneaking it into his food was more difficult. Now we wait, watch him eat, watch him die, and get the dukedom. The Duchess leaves because of that, but I got my achievement, so who cares? Now we have a dukedom, it's time to really fight this war, as they've already taken the fringe, which is where we entered. I repelled several waves of enemies before heading to where they're coming from, and seal it. To be really secure though, do you remember that gatekeeper I killed? We need a new one. The gatekeeper's maker hates me, I guess for good reason, but she does at least direct me where to go. Just another dungeon of harvesting various bits, same as before. And then we head back to her. She lets us pick the part of the new gatekeeper, which is kind of cool, and we head back to where we killed the last one, and then we do this impressive looking ritual and get that gatekeeper back. And he more than proves his worth. Next, we have to deal with the Duchess of Dementia trying to destroy her own army. Yes, really. She's trying to stop the wellsprings that allow them to exist, and halfway through she succeeds, causing them to collapse. Unfortunately for her, she doesn't succeed for long, and we soon stop her plan. Now to say thanks for that, we're going to become the new Lord of the Realm. Yeah, because we go back and Sheogoth turned into his own enemy. Because they're the same person, because that's just how mental this realm is. Now that we will become the new Maggoth and use his staff, we visit the staff's maker, and once more it's another go to dungeon, pick things up, nothing special, so boom boom done, got a staff. However, we get back, we can't imbue it with power, something's wrong. Naturally the pool is corrupted by the Order, so we have to go down there and kill them. This is actually a little different because these walking trees are required to make progress. Unfortunately, Oblivion is glitchy, especially this part, and these trees won't always walk. So sometimes I have to push them into the doors to make them open. We do eventually get it all clear, we even get to butcher the Duchess of Mania at the same time. We get back up, we become the Mad God, right at the perfect time because the Order's just attacked. Destroying the forces allows us to fight our final foe, I don't even know how to say that, the other side of Sheogoth, and it crashes. Turns out this battle, the final thing for the final achievement, yeah, it's broken. I'm getting slow in flashbacks. Second I head back in, manage to defeat him and everything, get my achievement, and it crashes again. To get it done, I have to basically skip my way through by resting, because if I listen, it'll crash. Very anticlimactic to finish, but we have. I am now the hero of Kvatch, the champion of Cyrodiil, the Black Hand's listener, the arena's grand champion, the Grey Fox, the Arcane University's Archmage, the Fighters Guild's Guildmaster, and finally, the Mad God. Not bad progress in a game that, at least for the original, I didn't really enjoy. The question now, though, is did my opinion change while playing this? Yes. I cannot speak for the original game, being that I never went through it and I likely never will now, but this remake is fun. Is it as good as Skyrim? I would say no, but it's fun. The main quest is a great time. I was a big fan of the Mages and the Thieves Guild as well as the Dark Brotherhood. The Fighters Guild was decent, although it did drag on for a bit sometimes. I felt a little too long. The arena was fun, if a bit short sometimes. I wouldn't put it on the same level as the others, but the achievements did. As for the Shivering Isles, probably my least favourite quest. It was just a bit mad. But it wasn't bad, it just wasn't my preference. So my conclusion really is I seem to have been wrong about Oblivion. It seems that, like Skyrim, with more time, I would have gotten into it a lot more. After finishing both this and Skyrim, I'm even wondering about maybe doing something with Morrowind or online. But that's something to think about at a later date. All there is to say now is to simply thank you for watching, especially if you've made it here to the end, because this is the long one. And I will hopefully see you very soon in my next video. It's about time I get the Pixellandia Labyrinth 2.0 finished.